I'm Katie.
And I'm Emily.
We're two long-distance best friends with a passion for learning about all the things that make everyday life interesting.
With my PhD in geography
and my master's in library science,
doing deep dives on topics is our idea of a fun time together. We'll share our findings with you on
Researching the Obvious.
We're recording this episode coming off of a weekend visit between me and Katie, so it's kind of like back to the recording studio, far away from each other.
Yes, not in person anymore.
Wah.
And yes, it was our annual girls trip for not only Emily and I, but our other best friends from college.
Yes.
I'm still recuperating, coming down off the high of seeing all of you guys in the same place. Yeah, it was good.
It's a good time. Katie and I, though, prior to the whole trip starting, we decided to have a quintessential girls' day, I guess, is what you want to call it. We spent the day at a Korean day spa, which, if you haven't been, they take that spa very seriously over there.
Would return.
Yeah, it was great. And after, a full day of pampering and sweating and whatever relaxing,
cooling.
Yeah, we rounded out the evening by watching a romantic comedy because, what else do you do on a girls' day?
Yes. It was great. I love a movie night, especially after a day like that. It really was perfect.
Yeah, it was good. And of course, while we're watching the movie, we're thinking about the Rom Com episode that we recorded.
How could we not?
Because, thinking about all the tropes and everything else that we talked about. And we thought it would be kind of cool in this episode to do sort of a review, kind of like what we did last season with the bottled water. A lot of people really enjoyed the bottled water review episode.
Listening to us taste water and talk about it. Yes.
We've gotten many photos of people sharing Dasanis in the wild, I will say.
Yeah.
Many photos from people. So I love it. Please keep sharing your Dasanis in the wild and how much you hate them.
Yeah.
Just like us. But we thought it would be fun to do another review episode. And when we were watching the rom-com, we were like, wait, we could review rom-com.
And so, of course, I decided that in order to do that, we needed a scoring system and we needed scorecards.
Correct.
In the form of a spreadsheet, because, And so we each decided we watched one rom-com together while we were together, obviously, but then we each watched some on our own as well, and we kind of threw together just a casual scoring system, let's call it.
Yes. Casual scoring system, which includes, how we're rating the film, but also takes into account a lot of the tropes and other aspects of the quintessential rom-com situation that we talked about in our rom-com episode.
Yes. And kind of gives us a way to evaluate or kind of hone in on some of maybe the most classic, the ones that held up the best.
Yes.
The best examples of what we think of as romantic comedy.
Exactly. Because if you need, a refresher course in rom-coms, then hopefully after the end of this episode, you'll know which ones to watch.
Yes. Yeah. We have some recommendations for
which ones are worth watching. And I guess, I don't know, do you want to should we share our scorecards on Instagram later?
Yes, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, that would be fun.
To give you an idea. So we decided to do a scale of 1 to 5 and 4 different categories.
Yes.
And so the first category was the feels, which just means, what did you think of the romance? The romantic part of the romantic comedy. How did you like that?
Yeah. Well, yeah. What did it feel like? 1 being low. So 1 is, as Katie says, the stone cold meh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
no feels at all.
No feels at all. Right. 3 would send a heart emoji about it. And a 5 is all the feels. Such good feels.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
All the feels.
Yep. And then category 2 was the laughs. So the comedy part of the romantic comedy.
Yeah. You got to have the comedy.
Yep. 5 being high and 1 being low. Should I read what my descriptions were?
You have to read the descriptions. You wrote them.
Okay.
It's how I based my
Okay.
ratings
All right,
on your
okay.
descriptions.
So 1 being, I'm winning a staring contest with this straight face. Like, you're not even a little
no
bit
laughs
abused.
at all.
Yep. 3 being, I chuckled. You know, some good little moments. And then 5 being raffle dongs, which is rolling on the floor laughing. On the floor laughing.
Dongs.
I forget what dong. Yeah, I forget that. That's a courtesy of your brother.
Yeah.
From
also,
a long time ago.
I feel courtesy of a very specific era of millennials. So if you don't get it, then I don't know what to tell you.
Yes.
You're not the right age bracket. The third category, we labeled it the cringe factor because we had talked about whether or not these movies hold up or are realistic. And so we wanted to have a category that was like, is it, does it stand the test of time?
Right.
So the cringe factor, in order to match our scoring system, a 1 is going to be wholly problematic scenarios, Batman, right? So if you get a 1, it is super cringe, like really problematic.
Yeah.
Does not hold up.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
questionable at best.
Right.
Yeah. A 3 is okay. Maybe there's some stuff that you have to sort of suspend reality for, but you can deal with it. And then a 5, we just decided it's millennial and Gen Z approved. So
cancel culture
cringe.
Wouldn't touch it.
Exactly. Very little cringe. Very little. Holds up great.
And I will say too, like, I understand that a lot of these are from a different era or a different time. So like we took that into consideration, but also some things just don't age well. And when you watch them again, you're kind of like, oh, like that's not as funny as I used to be. Or like, it's not like, I'm not really laughing about that now.
Exactly. Like you can kind of suspend reality on some part and be like, it's from a different era. But some things you're like, no, we shouldn't be pushing that narrative anymore. Yeah. And that just should have been staying in the past.
I scored this one based on like my actual face. Like if I actually made a cringe face at some jokes or things, I was like, ooh, yep, okay.
Yeah.
Should probably
100%.
dock a point on that one.
Yes. Yeah. There were definitely more than one movie I watched where I was like, oh no. So maybe avoid these ones that are real cringy. We'll see.
Yeah. Yep. And then the last category is just personal preference. So just whether or not we liked it, thought it was good. Obviously, we're going to be biased on, like, it's just our own personal feelings about it. But again, 5 being high, 1 being low. 5 being, love this for me. 3, it's fine. 1, ew, David.
Ew, David. Ew.
Yeah, I did not like that at all.
Yeah.
So with the scoring system, you have a potential total of 20 points at the end. And so we just made a little note for each movie that we watched on how we would score each of those with the totals. And then we also made note of all of the tropes we could find as we went along too.
Yes. Yeah. And so we'll mention the tropes. I won't go through this list. Basically, it's the tropes that we talked about in the rom-com episode, but we'll talk about the plot in relation to the tropes.
How they show up.
Yeah. And I don't know. How do you feel, Katie? I don't really want to have spoilers, but at the same time, these movies are all old. So.
I think, yes. I would say if you are planning on having a romantic comedy marathon and you don't want to know anything about any romantic comedy, don't listen to this episode.
Yeah. We're going to talk about stuff.
We have to.
Yeah, we have to talk about the tropes. And so, it's definitely not a spoiler-free episode. We'll mention the movie first. So if you haven't seen it and you don't want spoilers, you can kind of like fast forward a little bit.
Yep.
But yeah, it's going to be spoilers.
But as you said, most of these are older too. I would hope most people have seen these. And if you haven't, maybe after you hear us talk about it, you'll want to see it.
That's true. Yeah, there are a couple newer ones, but yeah, for the most part, these are at least 20 years old practically at this point.
Sometimes more.
Yeah.
I tried to do a sampling of some even older ones, so
yeah. So after our day of spying, we'll start with the movie that we watched together so you can kind of understand the score system and how this is going to work out.
Yes.
So after our day of spying, we decided to watch the movie It's Complicated. And that's a 2009 film. So
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was 2009.
I didn't either. And like I knew of this movie, but I didn't really remember it. If I had seen it, it was like a long time ago and I just didn't really remember the details of it.
Yes. Directed by Nancy Meyers.
Yes, who's famous in the rom-com space.
Yes. And it stars Alec Baldwin and
Steve Martin and Meryl Streep.
Yes. And so I guess the premise of this movie is that Alec Baldwin and Meryl Streep were married for a while. They had kids together, and then they get a divorce because Alec Baldwin basically cheats on her with a younger woman who he then gets married to. And the movie starts 10 years after they've got divorced. And so Meryl Streep's character went through a journey to get to where she is now and is feeling better about herself and better about the divorce, but
she's
is still
a business owner.
Yes.
Pastry chef.
Yes. Has her cute little house, like Tuscan inspired home. Her kids are graduating from college, and John Krasinski's in it as her daughter's fiance.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was so random. I was like, hey, John Krasinski.
But 2009, John Krasinski, so he's definitely still just Jim from The Office. 100% in the,
at that
in
point.
This,
yep.
Yeah. But so she is single and, you know, kind of getting a little lonely because of the empty nest thing. Through a secondary meet cute situation, her and Alec Baldwin end up eating dinner together and basically getting drunk, reminiscing on old times, and then having a fling. So she ends up sort of having this affair, essentially, with her ex-husband.
Yeah,
because he's married.
He's married to the new woman.
Right. And so she ends up having an affair with her ex-husband, while simultaneously Steve Martin is her architect that's working on an expansion on her home. And her and Steve Martin sort of start this other little like love interest situation. So it's a tale of two love stories. Kind of intertwining. Yes. So you have like a lot of notable tropes here, right? You have this sort of secret love trope because she's secretly having this affair with her ex-husband. You have a second chance kind of love trope because like maybe I could get back together with my ex-husband. Maybe this would work out. You have this trope of cheating is fine if it's really for the one you're meant to be with, right? Because technically Alec Baldwin is cheating on his new wife with his old wife. You know, but maybe they were supposed to be together the whole time and they weren't supposed to get divorced, right?
So you're supposed to feel like a little bit better about it for that reason. Though I will say, Meryl Streep's character does a good job of being like, I have a problem with this. I'm not going to. But then they kind of continue on, and then you're just like, okay, now you're just the other woman. But somehow it's okay because you know they're exploring this old new relationship.
It has a little bit of an enemies to lovers vibe too, because her and Alec Baldwin, being exes, have like a whole back history where they're kind of like, but I hate you situation.
Yes. And there's some banter there to like reinforce that too. Like, it's clear that they're cordial with each other, but it's not like they're best friends after being divorced for 10 years.
But at the same time, you have this other sort of situation going on with Steve Martin, which lends itself to this idea that Meryl Streep is on a journey of self-discovery. She's refiguring out who she is as an empty nester, and getting together with Steve Martin's character sort of changes her perspective on a lot of things. And that's where you get this intertwined stories of love. And of course, the whole situation kind of blows up when she has this like grand epiphany of like, oh no, there's a reason I got divorced from Alec Baldwin, and Steve Martin is in line with who I am as a person now. You know, and Steve Martin's character does a lot of like cute little gestures. Like, he's clearly interested for a while before. Yeah. But of course, there's the big lie going on. The big lie is a trope because she is not honest with Steve Martin about this situationship that she has with her ex-husband, and so there's quite a few classic
hijinks ensue.
Right, hijinks for sure. but quite a few classic tropes in this film.
Yes. And I have to say, for not remembering this one, like, I was pleasantly surprised. Like, it was way funnier than I was anticipating it being.
Agree. I thought it was...
Like, we both laughed out loud several times.
Yes. And I think what was interesting about this one, too, is that a lot of rom-coms are sort of stereotypically younger, like before you've gotten married, your first love sort of situation. And this one really wasn't. It's like women, a woman who's like in her 50s and has already done the kid thing and is trying to figure out who she is now without her children at home and in this new phase of life. So I thought that was kind of an interesting take that you maybe don't always see in rom-coms too.
Yep, agreed. Alec Baldwin cracked me up in this one,
he
too.
was like he was hilarious.
He was hilarious.
Yes. He had a bit of the like unhinged behavior that you might see in some other movies. Like I rewatched My Best Friend's Wedding, so we'll talk about that one later, but Alec Baldwin exhibited some unhinged behavior in this movie.
Yeah, because after this fling, too, even though Meryl Streep is unsure about getting back together, he jumps into it. Because personally, I think they kind of juxtapose her kind of figuring out what she wants and him not knowing what he wants at all.
Right.
He's still kind of lost.
Even at the end of the movie, he did not go on a journey of self-discovery. He still does not know what his life is and how to handle it. He ends up getting divorced to the second woman as well. So yeah, it is interesting watching one character really work on herself and figure out where she is now, and another character sort of falling into the same patterns that he was in prior.
Yep.
Yeah. So how did we rate this movie, Katie?
So I ended up giving it, so the total ended up being 17. I gave it a 3 for the feels, just because I didn't feel like the romance part was as strong.
Agree. It was like cute moments.
They're cute moments.
Especially with Steve Martin, I felt like there was cute. With Alec Baldwin, it was a little more, I don't want to say cringy because we rated the cringe because I don't think it was cringy, but it was just a little more like,
is it really
I don't know how romantic you're being right now.
Yes.
Or if you're just falling back into comfortable things.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I put it in the middle for feels. And then I gave it a 5 for laughs because we laughed.
Yeah.
We laughed a lot. It was really funny.
It was funny.
Like solid humor. Yeah.
Agree. I was surprised. I was like, oh wow, I don't remember this being so funny. And I laughed a lot.
Yep. And I gave it a 5 for cringe because I didn't really feel like there were any cringe moments. It was like it was good. It was a good story with nothing really that made me
I agree.
hesitate.
If you're okay with the premise that Meryl Streep is having an affair with her ex-husband, like if that premise doesn't bother you, then I think realistically there's not any other cringeworthy things in this movie. It held up really well from 2009.
Yep. And then personal preference, I gave it a 4 out of 5. Like, would watch again.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep. Yeah. I thought it was a pretty solid and interesting example of a rom-com.
Yes. And I think I gave it a 4 instead of a 5 just because for me, the romance part, I could have done with a little bit more for a romantic comedy. But that's
agreed.
But the rest of it, great.
So I went back and watched what I consider to be a quintessential millennial rom-com moment. Also starring Heath Ledger, which if I haven't talked about that man on this podcast yet, I'm surprised because I think we talked about him when I talked about the posters that were hanging in my college dorm because they were just large posters of Heath Ledger's face. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
Multiple large posters of Heath Ledger.
True.
So I watched 10 Things I Hate About You, which is classic in the sense that it is, 1999 solid rom-com from that era, but also classic in the sense that it's based on Shakespeare. So, we shouldn't be surprised that it's exhibiting a lot of quintessential rom-com tropes, and we shouldn't be surprised that it is holding up when it's ultimately a Shakespeare story. So if you're unfamiliar, 10 Things I Hate About You, like I said, from 1999, directed by Gil Junger, is how you say his name. I don't know.
I'm not familiar with him.
Gil. So it stars Heath Ledger, Julia Stiles. They're like the main romance people. But then Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in it. So, you know, before they were together in Batman, they were together in this film, which makes me laugh. Larissa Oleynik, who I know as from The Secret Life of Alex Mack, but
yes, on Nickelodeon.
Yes, David Krumholtz, who is Bernard. Please.
Yeah, from the Santa Claus.
From the Santa Claus.
That's what I always recognize him from.
Yeah, but also like random other people are in this. Like Allison Janney is the principal.
Oh yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah, it's got a lot of folks in it.
It's a good cast.
Yes. In terms of tropes, there's literally so many. So if you're unfamiliar with The Taming of the Shrew or 10 Things I Hate About You, the premise is that there's two sisters, Kat and Bianca, and they live with a dad who's very strict about dating and doesn't let them date until they're out of high school and they're still in high school. And so Bianca is the younger sister, and she's more of like the popular crowd, wants to be dating people, this whole thing. Kat is the older sister, and she's just very moody and into herself and wants to be, you know, playing her guitar in a girl band and, you know, has her own thing going, right? Wants to be like a writer. Like she's got her own like artsy fartsy thing going. And she's just not interested in dudes. She thinks, you know, she's like super feminist. She thinks men are a waste of time. Yeah, whole situation. So
true, by the way.
Yes.
You couldn't tell.
Yes. So the premise is that Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character wants to date Bianca because it's a love at first sight. So there's a trope, right? So it's a love at first sight situation. He sees this girl. He's like, I want to date her. So he starts tutoring her in French. And even though he doesn't know French.
Even though he doesn't know it, which is the best part.
He has no clue.
Doesn't know anything.
And so he finds out that she can't date anyone, but she's interested in this like uber popular football player guy who is honestly a giant douchebag. Like, yeah, he's really douchey, but she's interested in him because he's like popular and whatever. So she convinces her dad to let her start dating if Kat starts dating. And so she tells Joseph Gordon-Levitt that, oh, I can only date if my sister dates. And so Joseph Gordon-Levitt hatches this whole plot to basically to pay a person to date Kat so that Bianca can start dating. So then secretly he can like swoop in and start dating her, even though she wants to date this popular guy. It's like a whole entwined. So we've got love triangle scenarios happening, right? So Joseph Gordon-Levitt ends up finding Heath Ledger's character, and he's like a bad boy kind of guy. Like there's one scene literally where he is in shop class and like cuts the French textbook in half on the like table saw.
Just to be intimidating.
Just to be a shithead. He's like a real trying to be a bad guy thing. So he's like, that's the perfect one that will take my money to date Kat. So they start this fake romance, which obviously is another trope. There's a fake romance where then Patrick ends up convincing Kat to go out with him. And so it's fake romance, but then it becomes obviously a real romance where Kat and Patrick kind of
start to feel
it's real cute. There's a lot of grand gestures. My favorite and most hilarious scene,
everybody knows this,
is when Heath Ledger gets the marching band to play a song, and he's like running on the bleachers singing "I love you, baby." Classic. It's so cute. He does a cute little dance. I immediately fell in love with him forever.
Yes.
So, oh god. Anyway, but then of course the lie comes out, you know, and it eventually like ends up working out in the end. But there's like tons of other tropes. So the story with Bianca, she ends up realizing that the guy is actually a douche. And so she's been friends with Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character and realizes like, oh, actually he's really cute and he's the nice one. I should be with him. So there's this friends to lovers situation that happens between them, while there's also this like, you know, enemies to lovers things that's happening with Kat. Let's see. Love crosses class. There's that dynamic a little bit because Bianca and Kat are sort of, their dad's a doctor. And so they're a little more like posh lifestyle, especially compared to Patrick, who is this bad boy, like
Yeah,
rough around the
edges. Kind
edges.
of,
Yeah. He like lives with his grandma. Like it's a whole thing. And then obviously Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character is kind of in the same boat where he's like considered to be lower class. Tangential best friend romance plot.
Yes, the quirky best friends.
So yeah, David Krumholtz Bernard, he's Joseph Gordon-Levitt's best friend. He ends up having this little cute romance with Kat's goth best friend.
Yeah.
And they go to prom together. So that's kind of this cute little side plot. Obviously, lots of witty banter, unrequited love in terms of Joseph Gordon-Levitt, acts of chivalry as romance, right? Because they're sort of playing out these romantic gestures as like a chivalrous sort of situation. So yeah, so there's just, like I said, it's Shakespeare. Yeah. So there's a ton of these, right? So how did I rate it? So the feels.
How did it do on the scores?
I gave it a 5 for feels. I think it's super fucking cute. Yeah, like I think it's really cute. The gestures are really cute, but then there's also just some like cute moments where the characters are taking care of each other too.
Yeah, their chemistry is great.
Yeah,
too.
It's really good. Yeah,
the characters are, I think, very likable, and their little romances are very believable.
Yes. For the laughs, I wasn't quite sure. I gave it a little bit lower than It's Complicated. I gave it like a 3.5. Because I wasn't sure if I should give it a 3 or 4. Like, there's funny parts, but maybe not as funny as some other movies. Cringe factor, I will say, this is very 1999, and they made one joke that I wish they could just edit out. They made one joke that uses the R word.
Yeah.
And I feel like so well. I just feel like that was such a late 90s word in our lexicon that
very commonly used
was very like, we got to get rid of that word. So I gave it a 4.5 because if that one joke was not there,
everything else.
Like everything else holds up so well. That one joke was like real, like, oh no, that's a sign of the times. Like it was. So yeah, so I gave it 4.5 on the cringe. And then personal preference, 5. Like I think, did I want to be Julia Stiles 100%? Did I want to date Heath Ledger 1000%? And like I said, aside from that one joke, I feel like it holds up as like almost a gold standard of like what a high school rom-com is. Like, so yeah, so total 18.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Real high.
All right. So one of my watches was Notting Hill, which is one of my favorite rom-coms from the past. I remember renting it from the library a lot. It was just kind of like, I don't know. It's one that I always liked. But I have not watched it in many years, so it was fun to rewatch it. So Notting Hill, released in 1999, so another late 90s. And directed by Roger Michell. So if you haven't seen it, Hugh Grant and Julia Roberts are the main characters, which I love. I mean, Julia Roberts was in so many rom-coms in the 90s, early 2000s era. And I think they were a good pair in it too. Like they had good on-screen chemistry and such. So, and I love Hugh Grant. I'm a sucker for a Hugh Grant. So premise is Julia Roberts plays like herself. She's a famous actress in a bunch of blockbuster type movies. She's very well known. And Hugh Grant plays just an average guy who lives in Notting Hill in London, and he owns a travel bookshop, which I think is hilarious. They kind of make fun of it in the movie too, because like, do you really need a whole bookstore of just travel books?
Yeah,
I don't know, but
that seems very specific. Maybe in the 90s. Maybe in the 90s you did. You didn't have the internet.
Right? So it did make me chuckle because I was kind of like, oh, that would so not be a profession today. Like, not even realistic.
Yeah. We can't even have a real book shop today, so come on.
Right, yeah. So he owns a little cute bookstore and, you know, again, just kind of your average guy. He has a quirky, comedic roommate that he lives with, a flatmate that he lives with in his London flat, which I feel like is also, you know, standard for the rom-com. You got to have the friend, the quirky friend.
Yeah, that's the trope right there. It's the quirky best friend.
Yes. And so one day, Julia Roberts comes into his bookstore And he recognizes her, but he doesn't like say anything. And then she leaves and he goes to get a coffee and an orange juice for the other person who works in the bookshop. And as he's coming back, he runs into her and spills the orange juice on her, which she's very upset about, which I think is the classic meet cute trope, right? And he's like, oh, I live around the corner. And so, I can let you change or whatever and get you cleaned up. And she agrees. And so they just kind of have this moment where they meet each other. And, he's kind of in awe of her because, she's this big, beautiful actress. So anyway, that's kind of the start of, several things that happen that build on their romance. Some other notable tropes. So, I mean, already what I've talked about, the love crossing classes, right? She's this big, famous movie star who makes millions of dollars, and he's just your average bookshop owner struggling to get by with a roommate. So that's kind of the first one. Also, he finds out at one point that she's actually dating another guy, like another actor. So she has a boyfriend, but she fails to mention that to him, even though they've kind of started talking and getting more romantic with each other. I counted that as, kind of the big lie or the love triangle too, because she's still involved with this other guy, even though she's interested in Hugh Grant. But the other trope would be like cheating is okay if it's for your one true love, right? Like we overlook the fact that like she's actually like cheating on this other guy and in another relationship, but like, the thing with Hugh Grant is so cute. Like how,
yeah.
Can't
like
help it.
obviously you're going to pick that one.
Yes. He has kind of this little posse of quirky friends and family members that she meets that are just like so lovable and things like that. And they're also on the side ends up being a tangential best friend romance with his roommate and his quirky younger sister. So that's part of it. And there's definitely what I call the climactic chase after. So when there's that grand epiphany of love, which is another trope, then there's also I have to get to her right now. And like, I'm going to go to the, her press conference is what it is, not the airport. The airport's the other big one, but this one's her press conference. And then, that's kind of the culmination of their romance. And then there's some little tie-ups at the end where, they get married and they live happily ever after kind of thing. That's a small part of it. So a lot of tropes there. There's also some chivalric activity, some chivalric acts that he performs that kind of make her see that he's a genuinely good person who cares about her and stuff like that, which is, kind of what she ends up falling in love with. And yeah, so I don't know. I love this movie so much. I like watching it again. It just gives me all the good feels, and it's a little bit of British humor, which I'm a big fan of. So there's just some, like, I don't know, obvious comedic moments that are very British in my opinion, but I love them. And Hugh Grant is just very likable in it. I mean, he's that average guy kind of thing, but also he's just so cute and sweet and a little bit bumbling, but also just really nice. And I think he's more likable than her, actually. She's you're a little bit back and forth on her. Like she's sometimes she acts kind of snooty because she's that upper class, that actress. But yeah, I just really, really loved everything about it. Also, Alec Baldwin makes an appearance. I had totally forgotten
Another
that
Alec
too.
Baldwin.
He's in it for like 5 minutes.
Oh, weird.
He is her boyfriend, her actor boyfriend. And he's in it just long enough to establish that he's kind of an asshole too. So that's the other reason that cheating is okay, because he's a jerk. And
right, yeah, he's not worth it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So really everything about it I really love. It's a fantastic soundtrack too. Oh my gosh. So many classic 90s romance songs. Highly recommend. And score-wise, for the feels, I gave it a 5. Oh, it makes me all warm and tingly inside just watching Hugh Grant and Julia Roberts get together. Laughs, I gave it a 4 because I found it pretty funny. I think between his quirky family and some of his kind of British humor moments, like I laughed. And then cringe factor, I gave it a 5. I really felt like there was nothing in it that made me feel like, ooh, that didn't age well. It was very much just, to me, classic romance and good story and good writing. And then personal preference, I gave it a 5 because it's one of my favorites of all time, which gave it a whopping score of 19.
Oh, wow. That's high.
It was my top scorer. I forgot how much I loved it, to be honest. I was like watching it. I was like, I can't believe it's been so long since I watched this.
Okay, I'm going to change gears and I'll do one that I rated low. So since I was on this like high school kick with 10 Things I Hate About You, I watched Never Been Kissed, which is also sort of a high school-ish situation. And it also came out in 1999. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And Never Been Kissed was directed by Raja Gosnell, Michael Vartan, but also appearances by Jessica Alba and James Franco and Octavia Spencer, Molly Shannon also, and John C. Reilly. Yeah, so there's like a decent number of people in this movie. But the premise is that Drew Barrymore works at a newspaper and they had a successful like undercover story. And so they want to do another one. And someone pitches the idea of sending someone undercover to a high school to like learn more about like what the youths are interested in these days. And so Drew Barrymore is this very like awkward and uncomfortable person who she's in her early 20s, like pretty much out of college, but you know, she's never had a boyfriend, hence never been kissed. You know, she's just this really awkward girl who had a very crappy high school experience, and she is the one that ends up getting picked by John C. Reilly, who's her boss. Anyway, to go do the story. And of course, the whole thing is just comedic farce from the beginning because she was like the least popular girl in her high school situation that now has to go back undercover in a high school and figure out like what the popular kids are enjoying and doing. Right. So it had a couple tropes. I mean, a decent number of tropes, I should say. First of all, she has the whole makeover montage because she has to like become a high school student again. Right. There's sort of, I felt like I categorized it as sort of a second chance situation, even though it's not necessarily with the same like romantic partner. It's like a second chance for her to go back to high school and be a different person in that scenario. Let's see, there's obviously this whole like lie because she's lying about being a high school student. But then, you know, so where does the rom come in of this supposed rom-com, right? Like, you're like, okay, so she's going back to high school, undercover, cute. Here's where it gets so cringy that I had a hard time watching it, I will be honest, which sucked because it was hilarious up until this moment, right? The whole premise is hilarious. Honestly, Drew Barrymore, hilarious in this movie. Like, she's so funny. And the makeover and her going back to high school, hilarious. Like, it's very funny. Her outfit that she picks, absurd. And it's really funny. And then you have the meet cute, which is where the movie goes downhill. Because the meet cute is with Drew Barrymore and her English teacher.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's one thing, I think, for a high school student to be crushing on a teacher. But the movie takes it to the extent where then the high school teacher is crushing on her. And he doesn't know that she's not a student. Yeah. And, you know, as an audience member, you're like, but she's actually 25. But he doesn't know that, right? And so it becomes real cringy real fast. So you have this meet cute. There's lots of witty banter because, you know, she's funny and she's older, but he doesn't know she's older, right? So she's able to make these like smart comments and do well in his English class because she went to school for journalism. So, you know, there's banter there, right? But it's almost like a catfish situation, I feel, right? I kind of used that mistaken identity catfish trope here because she is not who she says she is. She's right.
Yeah. And she's pretending to be a student.
She's pretending to be someone under 18. He helps her with her college application at one point in the movie, right? Like he is like
he kind of becomes like a quote unquote mentor to her too.
Correct.
So it's almost like he takes her under his wing and then
Yeah. So what's crazy to me about this movie is that they actually acknowledge this fact. Like there are scenes where she is riding the Ferris wheel with him, right? And he still thinks she's his student.
Yeah.
And he makes a comment about how it is inappropriate for him to be doing this activity with her, and how it is inappropriate for him to have feelings about her. Like, he literally, like, they bring it up about how it is an inappropriate scenario and how the teacher is crossing a line and all this stuff. And they bring it up in the movie, but then they just keep doing it. Yeah, to the point where she's wearing this secret little camera pin on her thing, and the whole newspaper office is watching her camera footage and acting about how it's so cute, this interaction with her and the teacher, right? And it's just, anyway, it becomes real cringy real fast. The other trope is at the end, there's a grand declaration of love. She ends the movie by going to a baseball field and is like, I'm sorry I lied. Come find me on this baseball field and we can be together. I've never been kissed and you can kiss me. Blah. Right? Yeah. Which is supposed to be cute, but it's not, because it was her teacher. And even though he now knows that she's age appropriate, it just feels real icky.
Right? Because it doesn't change the fact that he was essentially feeling like he was attracted to a 17-year-old student of his.
I will say that there were cute parts in this, and the parts that were cute were when Drew Barrymore is sort of going through this journey of self-discovery to recognize who she is now and how she's grown. And she especially has like this cute part where she forms some relationships with other girls who she identifies as being who she would have been in high school. And she really helps them. And I wish, to be honest, that this movie had focused on that and just not even had the romance, or could have had the romance with someone she worked with at her office or something. Like, given her the confidence to ask out a guy at her office or something. But the fact that there's this English teacher thing, So I gave it a 2 for the feels because I couldn't get past the ick. I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I did give it a 5 for laughs, though, because honestly, it's hilarious. Funny. Like, it is very funny. So it got, like, I laughed out loud at several moments of this movie. Cringe factor, it got a 1. It's too cringy. I almost couldn't even watch it. Like, anyway, it made me wonder, like, was this not considered inappropriate in 1999? I'm so confused. It was just weird. And so I ended up giving it a 2 for personal preference, which I was really bummed about because like I said, I felt like it had the potential to be cute if they had just not made the romance with a teacher. So it ended up only getting it got a 10, but basically it got a 10 because 5, it's funny, and I gave it a 5 for laughs. And but it basically was just a really uncomfortable rewatch. I guess if you're able to completely suspend the reality of the fact that the relationship is with her teacher, the laughs are there. But it was just really hard for me to watch it, to be honest.
Yeah. Which, it makes me sad too, because like I remember watching that a long time ago and feeling like it was a really funny movie. I loved Drew Barrymore. I loved the whole premise of her going back to high school, like you said. But I'm thinking back too now, and like I watched that in high school. And if you think about other people of that age watching that situation and it being kind of made into this funny, quote unquote, cute scenario, like that's kind of messed up too.
Yeah. And there's even a scene where her brother ends up going back to high school too, to pretend that he's a high school student because he was popular in high school. And so he's going to make her popular.
Yes.
And there's a scene where they're having a party and there's this girl that's like all over him, this cheerleader girl. And she literally calls it out. She's like, you can't do that because she's in high school. What are you doing? And I'm like, you're literally doing it with the teacher.
Yeah. But because she's actually older, somehow that's supposed to make it okay.
I guess. Yeah. It was just, like I said, it was a hard rewatch.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that one
not the best romantic premise.
Did not hold up.
Bad.
Yeah. I unfortunately skip it, even though the laughs are there.
Yeah. Well, I had some duds too that I watched. So I watched Rumor Has It, which is circa 2005. And it's a Rob Reiner film. And I will say definitely not as bad as what you just described. But just was kind of unimpressed with it, I guess. Okay, so Jennifer Aniston, Mark Ruffalo, Shirley MacLaine, and Kevin Costner. So some big names in this one, by the way. So the premise is Jennifer Aniston and Mark Ruffalo are a couple. They're engaged and they're traveling to Jennifer Aniston's family's home because her sister is getting married. And when she goes to the wedding and is at home with her family, who Shirley MacLaine plays her grandmother, she deduces that the book and the movie The Graduate are actually based off of her family, because she finds out that her mom, before her mom married her dad, she ran off and kind of had this brief affair with this other guy. And then this guy's friend is the writer of the book, The Graduate, that then becomes the movie with Dustin Hoffman. So they use The Graduate as a plot point of, you know, this situation actually happened in her family, and that's who The Graduate is based off of. Which means that the guy that her mom ran off with is also the guy who had a brief affair with her grandmother.
Right.
So Jennifer Aniston decides that, well, one, she's concerned that her mom actually got pregnant during that affair and that this guy is her dad and she hasn't known it all these years.
Okay.
So she decides she's going to go and find him and confront him about it and be like, tell me what happened, because this has been this big family secret. So she tracks down the guy who's Kevin Costner, and he basically tells her he's not able to have kids. He's sterile. So there's like some relief there that, okay, so this is not my dad and my dad is my dad. She kind of like talks to him a little bit about her mom and why her mom kind of had this brief affair with him or whatever. And then she decides to sleep with him too. So it gets, yeah, that's why I said it gets kind of weird, because like, okay, one, she's engaged to Mark Ruffalo, who up until this point has been supportive of this whole thing, and it was like, yeah, go do what you need to do. During the movie, he's trying to call her multiple times and she stops picking up the cell phone because she ends up going out for drinks with Kevin Costner and then going home with him, and he's this tech mogul who's got tons of money, and she's in his mansion and decides to sleep with him, which is weird on a couple of levels. One, okay, she's cheating on her fiance, not great. Two, he's also slept with her mother and her grandmother, and now her.
Yeah, no.
Right?
We don't need multi-generational, like, right? No. I
was like, that doesn't even weird you out enough to stay out of his bed, that he slept with your grandmother and your mom?
Yeah.
And now you?
Yeah, no.
Right? I was like, okay.
Hard pass.
And I get that the connection is supposed to be to The Graduate, but I'm just like, what are you doing, Jennifer Aniston's character? What are you doing? Like,
yeah. Yeah, that's rough.
Then, you know, they have this quote unquote, I guess, romantic night together, and he's like, why don't you stay for a while? Because of course, all of a sudden he likes her, I guess. After they've just had a conversation about him potentially being her father, which is also adds like this weird. No, there's a moment later in the movie where she finds out that he has a son and she freaks out, but it turns out it's a son from another marriage. So he didn't actually father this guy. But in that moment, you're like, oh my God, please don't tell me that's the twist. But why should that even be a potential twist?
No.
Because you shouldn't have slept with him. Like, what are you doing here? So anyway, I was cringing.
Yeah.
I was cringing. I was having some cringe moments with that. And so like Kevin Costner's like, why don't you stay for a little bit? And he does this whole kind of wooing thing where he takes her on his private jet. So I mean, grand gestures, but it also kind of just still feels weird. Yeah. Because again, like, what are you doing here? So after this happens, Mark Ruffalo shows up because she's not answering his calls. So he flies back from New York to find her because he's starting to worry that something has happened to his fiance. And all he knows is
fair.
Right? Also, I'm like sitting there going like, dude, you can't even pick up the phone for your fiance that you're cheating on and like give him a lie?
Yeah.
So he shows up, catches her with Kevin Costner, who she's like kissing at the time, gets all upset and leaves. And then she has an epiphany of like, oh my God, what am I doing? I actually love him and I want to get married. And I guess a little bit of a journey of self-discovery where she was having all this anxiety about potentially getting married to him. And then she apparently needed to have this fling in order to realize that she actually wanted to, which also didn't make sense to me because I'm like, dude, if you're feeling that way about marriage, maybe you should not be getting married.
Yeah. Give questionable at best.
So it just didn't hit the way I like a romantic comedy to hit. And to top it all off, she then goes back to Mark Ruffalo and makes her apologies and is like, I know I messed up and blah, 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 but I actually love you. And he just takes her back.
Wow. Okay. Even though I may not be actually ready for marriage, I'm just going to take you back and get married.
Yeah, because I went and had an affair with this dude who also slept with my grandma and also slept with my mom.
Yeah,
and I guess I just did the same thing as my mom, which is like I got scared before I got married and I just had to have this adventure before. I don't know. It just didn't work for me.
I don't think that's working out the generational trauma that it thinks it is.
Right? Yeah, it didn't hit for me.
Yeah.
So, even actually as I'm talking about it, I'm lowering some of my scores because, it was actually real bad. Like, I think I was being too generous here. So, for the feels, I gave it a 2. I mean, I guess some of her and Mark Ruffalo was, like, kind of cute, but it was also so problematic because you really messed this up. And he just kind of takes you back and there's really no, I don't know, no redeeming qualities there to their relationship. And then the laughs, I gave it a 3. There were quite a few funny parts. I mean, Shirley MacLaine's really funny. There's some situations with her family that are funny. So there's some good, like, I don't know, light moments. Cringe factor, I gave it a 2 because, like, what the, I don't know.
No.
I just am trying to imagine a world where sleeping with the same man who's also slept with your grandmother and your mom is a good idea.
No, there's no world in which that should even exist as a plot point.
Yeah.
Like,
agree. Yeah. Personal preference, I gave it a 2. I mean, I love Jennifer Aniston. I love, like, it was fine. It was okay. It was just okay. But the whole scenario was just kind of real weird for me.
Yeah, no, that does feel.
But yeah, definitely some tropes in there too. The love triangle kind of situation because she, kind of runs off with that guy. Marriage is definitely a central theme in this whole her struggling with the idea of marriage. Love on the rocks. I might be putting it lightly. Comes to me like what are you doing?
Yeah.
Do you really love him? Because it doesn't seem like there's that much of a struggle there. And there's a little climactic chase at the end. Mark Ruffalo, poor guy, like he at first is kind of so mad at her that he's like, no, and she leaves. And then he goes after her. And I'm really, dude?
Yeah.
You deserve better.
Right.
You deserve better.
Mm.
So.
Wow.
Total 9.
Yeah.
Real low. Real low on that scale. I had high hopes because I love Jennifer Aniston and I think she's in some great movies. And I saw Jennifer Aniston, Shirley MacLaine, Kevin Costner. Like, ooh. Yeah, but no. Would not recommend necessarily.
Hey, Katie. Remember that time that we wanted to start a podcast based on all of our random research conversations?
Yeah, and we had no idea what we were doing or how we would even make a podcast.
Yeah, that's the time. It was a really good thing we found Podbean, because that made it super easy to upload all of our episodes to multiple streaming platforms.
Podbean is a really simple platform for hosting and publishing your podcast.
So, if you and your best friend are having random conversations that you think should be a podcast, check out Podbean.
And if you do, use our link to get a month free. Podbean.com/obvious. That's PODBEAN.com/obvious.
And become super cool podcasters like us.
World famous.
I'll do one that I rated high.
Okay.
But it does not end in the relationship.
Ooh, okay. Yes, I like this.
Yeah. So I watched 500 Days of Summer, And 500 Days of Summer is a 2009 film directed by Mark Webb. It stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt, so apparently I was on that kick, I guess.
Yes.
And Zooey Deschanel. Those are really the big people. There's a couple side characters. Chloe Grace Moretz. I know her from Kick-Ass.
Okay.
But basically the premise is that there is this immediate meet cute, right, where Joseph Gordon-Levitt is working as a greeting card writer.
Yeah.
And Zooey Deschanel's character starts working there. And so the movie just starts with the two of them meeting in an elevator and sort of bonding over liking the Smiths music together. I will preface that this movie, to me, felt like a very specific aesthetic from a very specific time frame.
Yeah.
When I was rewatching it, I was like, this is hipster circa 2010.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It is a very specific aesthetic from a very specific point in time. So anyway, they have this meet cute and then they start dating. But what I think is interesting about this movie is that some of the tropes are here, but what I think that the movie does is it does the tropes, but then it sort of flips it so that it's saying, look at all these romantic tropes. They won't work here.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's plenty of times where Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, he tries to do all these acts of chivalry as romance. Zooey Deschanel doesn't give a shit. Like, she does not care. And, you know, her whole deal is that she's like, whatever, the manic pixie dream girl. Okay. I'm the quirky, cool one. I don't believe in love. Love isn't real. And, you know, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he's the big romantic person and he's going to bring her around. And so they're dating and they have a relationship. He's doing these like declarations of love. He's doing these acts of chivalry as romance. You know, for him, it's like this whole love at first sight situation where he's like obsessed with this girl, but it's very unrequited from her standpoint. She's dating him, but she is uninterested in
ambivalent. Yeah.
Any kind of like activity that he is doing, right? And so really a lot of the movie is sort of watching him be obsessed with her and her not feel the same way, and it becomes this very unrequited thing, and you're just watching this relationship slowly devolve into nothing. The part that I think is supposed to punch you in the gut is at the end when he, you know, they've broken up, they're not together, it's been several months, he sees her 4 months later. And she is not only dating someone else, but she is engaged and getting married to that person. Yeah. And so Joseph Gordon-Levitt is like, what the heck? I was trying everything. You were my dream girl. You were the person for me, you know? And so it becomes this thing where he takes on the opposite of where he started, where now he doesn't believe in love and he thinks it's not true. But then Zooey Deschanel kind of flips it back and is like, no, now I do believe in love. It's just that I wasn't the right person for you. And so it creates this thing at the end where, in my opinion, you can kind of fill in the blanks of the love story from Zooey Deschanel's perspective. Because maybe if we're thinking about it from a rom-com perspective, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is the loser that she wasn't supposed to be with. But then she finds this person that she has this grand romance thing, whirlwind situation, and ends up getting engaged and is going to get married. And that's the love. But we never see that story happen, right? We see the failed relationship side of it. And so does love exist? Blah, blah. And she's like, no, it does. And it's real. And there is this grand thing that can exist. It's just that's not the story we were telling here in this movie. My favorite part of this movie, though, actually is a side character, so it's a tangential romance plot. But they do these like little interview montage things with other characters in the movie about what is love. And so Joseph Gordon-Levitt, his roommate, there's this one moment where they're interviewing the roommate who barely has a role in this film at all. Except for this one little interview. And he says, they ask him about, oh, well, what's the girl of your dreams like, right? Yeah. And he's been dating this girl basically since 8th grade. And so his perspective on love is someone who's just been dating this girl since 8th grade, right? And so he says, I think technically the girl of my dreams would probably have a really bodacious rack, you know, maybe different hair. She'd probably be a little more into sports. but truthfully, Robin is better than the girl of my dreams. She's real.
Oh, that's so cute.
So cute. And I'm like, how is this movie about this failed relationship? And it has the cutest little love story tangential thing. So anyway, for the feels, the way I rated it, I gave it a 3 because there's really cute moments like that side plot, but a lot of the movie is like very melancholy.
Yeah.
Because you're like basically watching this, kind of failed relationship.
And he's so invested in
He's so invested. Yes. And she does tell him very blatantly multiple times that that's not what she's looking for. Yeah. And he pours himself into it.
Yes. I think maybe that's the part that's sad too, is just seeing him kind of continually make himself believe that it will be something it's not.
Yes. So gave it a 3 for feels. Laughs, I gave it a 3. There's definitely some moments that are funny and quirky, but again, it's that quirky 2010.
Yeah.
It's a very specific era. Cringe factor, I gave it a 4. I didn't really think that there was anything that didn't hold up or made it like inappropriate or any way, but I give it a 4 because it feels very millennial, and so therefore it's probably cringy to someone.
Yeah.
Because it's from 2000. I'm telling you, this movie is half of the millennial population right now. I mean, it's just Zooey Deschanel, like.
Yeah. Yes, I know. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then personal preference, I gave it a 5.
Yeah.
To me, I felt like it didn't end sad, it ended hopeful. And I thought it was an interesting twist on these tropes because they are sort of viewed from the perspective of them not working, while at the same time, the movie ends with this idea that with the right person, it will work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So overall 15, rated it high, but the relationship does not. They don't get together in the end. They do not.
Okay. Well, I've got one for you that similarly maybe has some of those elements in it too, where it doesn't quite end the way you might think, or has a little bit of a different take on a romantic comedy, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't watched it in a long, long time, so I really didn't remember any of it. But it was He's Just Not That Into You, which is 2009, so also similar time frame.
Mm-hmm.
I really remember when this book came out because this movie was, loosely based on the book of the same title, which was a dating and relationship advice book.
Mm-hmm.
That came out in the mid 2000s. I just remember it being very popular, very much talked about, and it made a splash in the dating and relationship scene for our generation, I guess. I feel like a lot of young people were reading that book. So anyway, the cast of this movie is crazy, okay? Jennifer Goodwin, Scarlett Johansson, Jennifer Connelly, Jennifer Aniston, Bradley Cooper, Justin Long, Drew Barrymore, Ben Affleck.
Okay.
Listen to that lineup.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right? Yeah.
I feel like this was back during that era where they were making movies and trying to cram as many big names into them as possible. Love Actually came out at the same time and it had like everyone, you know?
Yep. Yeah. And it actually reminded me a little bit of Love Actually, just maybe a different take on it, because it is one of those intertwined stories of love. So all those different people, different love stories. I guess kind of the main character, though really they're kind of all main characters because they all have their own little paths that they take. But Jennifer Goodwin's character is kind of this hopeless romantic type. She's dating, she's trying to find a relationship, and she's not doing very well. And the whole premise that circles all of this is that he's just not that into you. Is basically the message of that book is if a guy is not showing you his interest, then he's not interested in you, which sounds kind of obvious, but I guess for a lot of people it is not. So the movie's also like punctuated with these cut scenes of people talking about relationships and kind of lessons from the book. So one of them is, if he's not calling you back, he's just not that into you. And if he's married, he's just not that into you. Or if he's sleeping with someone else, he's just not that into you. But basically calling out all of these situations that apparently women get themselves in, and they're kind of are making it okay or trying to convince themselves that maybe it'll work out. So that's the advice portion of it, I guess. kind of like a straight talk about relationships.
Okay.
These are red flags, right? It's the
Yeah.
original red flag book. So anyway, Ginnifer Goodwin, she's kind of hopeless romantic. She's dating. She's also kind of obsessively, even when guys are not calling her back or whatever, she's trying to figure out, well, why not? Maybe he just, forgot, or maybe he was busy, or maybe it's like, kind of trying to make it okay and like pursue relationships where he's not, just not showing interest. Justin Long plays a bar manager who ends up talking to her and kind of giving her that straight talk of, if you haven't heard from him, he's not calling you, kind of thing. And he kind of is just like real abrupt with her, is kind of like, nope, he's not going to call you back, or like that excuse, that's a classic, he's not going to call you back. And so he kind of becomes her a little bit like relationship advisor, where she's kind of looking to him for, well, he said this, so do you think he's interested in me? And so they develop this kind of little friendship on the side of, she's asking him his advice. So that's going on. Jennifer Aniston and Ben Affleck are a couple. They've been together for 7 years. She wants to get married. He does not want to get married. He's kind of like, I don't really believe in marriage, and I like our life the way it is. So there's that. Jennifer Connelly and Bradley Cooper are married in it, and their relationship is on the rocks, or their marriage is on the rocks. So love on the rocks, marriage. And he actually ends up having an affair with Scarlett Johansson, who simultaneously, she's also kind of trying to convince herself that this relationship with a married man is okay, and that right? Again. And then she also is involved, and I say involved loosely, with this guy who they're really like friends. She's like friend zoned him, and she's kind of using him as a friend, and they've slept together before, but they're not anymore. But he's in love with her. So there's a little unrequited love story, the love triangle between, Bradley Cooper, Jennifer Connelly, and Scarlett Johansson. So there's a lot. There's friends to lovers, because in the end, Jennifer Goodwin and Justin Long end up getting together. They kind of realize that as he's been giving her all this advice, and stuff, that they've developed this friendship and they actually like each other. And Jennifer Aniston and Ben Affleck, she breaks up with him because she thinks that because he won't marry her, that she needs to leave him behind. But then she kind of realizes that relationship was actually really good. And even though he doesn't want to get married, maybe that's not the most important thing, because he's actually the person that I want to be with, so maybe marriage shouldn't be a deal breaker. And then he proposes anyway, so Yeah. So of course, and
we've overcome this obstacle.
Right. And then Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Connelly and Scarlett Johansson, their stuff is just like a mess. Like, he's just kind of a lying, shitty person. She finally realizes it and divorces him. Scarlett Johansson realizes he's kind of a shitty person too, and she breaks it off. And so anyway, it's obviously multiple storylines of different romances and love stories that end in varying ways. Some of them end
like The Country Wife.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It really is. That's kind of what it reminded me of. And then, so I was actually surprised. I actually liked this one more than I thought I would, just because I thought it was a pretty good representation of just different love stories, good and bad, right? And the main romance between Jennifer Goodwin and Justin Long is actually pretty cute. They're pretty cute together. I think they're both pretty likable, so I liked that. And Jennifer Aniston and Ben Affleck's relationship is actually also really cute because they're really good together. So I gave it a 5 for feels, because I just had all sorts of feels all over the place about all the relationships. Laughs, I gave it a 3. There were some funny moments, but overall I felt like it was kind of a little bit of a serious movie. There's some serious situations going on with their marriage falling apart and Jennifer Aniston questioning her long-term relationship and really trying to figure out what's important to her. And so even though there were some light, funny moments, like actually was more relationship focused, where I felt like I wasn't laughing as much as maybe other romantic comedies. Cringe factor, I gave it a 4. There wasn't anything glaring about it. There's definitely some things I think that kind of dated it. And also there are definitely like some stereotypical things that were kind of like, I could have done without that. Personal preference, I gave it a 4. So it ended up with a 16. Wow. And I thought it was pretty good. Pretty good.
Okay. I'll have to check that one out. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what you thought of it. I was kind of pleasantly surprised.
Oh.
And it gave me Love Actually vibes, but American. It's
Okay.
set in Baltimore. You
Oh,
can see the Domino
hey.
sugar sign. I don't think they
Nice.
actually filmed it in Baltimore,
Yeah.
but you can definitely tell that there's row houses, and they do put the Domino sugar sign in one of the windows.
Heyo.
Yeah. So there you go.
I'll talk about now the one that I rated the lowest because we've talked about it. And also, I felt like it was a really kind of interesting juxtaposition to 500 Days of Summer because the relationship also doesn't work out. And that is My Best Friend's Wedding. My Best Friend's Wedding is 1997 and it's directed by P.J. Hogan. It stars Julia Roberts, Dermot Mulroney. Is that how you say his name? Anyway, I know him from The Wedding Date is what I always think of when I think of him, not My Best Friend's Wedding, which is funny. Anyway, it also has Cameron Diaz in it, and Carrie Preston is in it, and Rupert Everett. But anyway, if you are unfamiliar with this film, I actually think it's a really good one to contrast with 500 Days of Summer because Julia Roberts is also sort of a manic pixie dream girl situation.
Yeah.
Where she's like hard worker, too busy for love, but also like real cute. And, you know, she's got a male best friend who's just like my best friend, but he's a man. And so, you know, they apparently dated for like 2 days in college, but then decided that they were going to be best friends instead. Right. And so the premise is that he calls her up, her best friend, calls her up and is like, hey, I really need to talk to you. I'm really hoping that you're going to come to visit this weekend because I'm getting married. And somehow she is like shocked about this, even though he's supposed to be her best friend.
Her best friend. Yeah.
Right. And is all of a sudden like, wait, you're getting married? And so he asks her to be basically his best man in his wedding because they're supposed to be best friends. But how she had no clue that any of this was happening is beyond me.
Yeah. Thanks for the advance notice too, to be in a wedding.
Right. And also you didn't even know he was dating? Like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so we're putting that aside as red flag number 1 in this movie. And then, so she goes, but what she realizes is, oh my God, how is he marrying someone else? He's supposed to be my person. So she basically just decides that she's going to break up the wedding so that she can be with him instead, even though previously she's never had any interest in not only being with him, but just like marriage and love, period.
Right. Basically, someone took her toy and she doesn't
correct,
like it.
Right. Because he's her best friend, even though she had no idea he was dating someone and getting engaged and getting married.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, so she goes, and then his fiance is Cameron Diaz. And so she basically spends the whole movie trying to break them up, doing increasingly more and more unhinged things to try to break them up. And at first I was starting to kind of laugh at it, but then there's a scene that in my mind takes it completely over the edge where she breaks into Cameron Diaz's dad's office and sends an email basically to get her best friend fired from his job as a sports writer. She doesn't actually hit send. She somehow saves it in the drafts folder. And then it ends up getting sent anyway by accident, quote unquote. But like to me, as soon as she did that, I'm like, this is another level. You tried to get your supposed best friend fired.
Yeah. And you're trying to come in between him and a person that he supposedly loves and is getting married to.
Yeah, and honestly, Cameron Diaz to me is the best part of this movie. She is lovely in this movie. Yeah. I felt like she was the best part of this movie. It's a really great character for her. She's very brilliant in it. She's pretty funny. She's also really sweet. I love her in this movie. Yeah.
And Julia Roberts is just a mean girl.
To the
extreme. Yeah.
Yes. Like it goes beyond unhinged, I think. She's like, you're literally trying to ruin your best friend's career in an attempt to stop this wedding from happening.
And steal him away.
Yes. And steal him away. And I think the quintessential like line in this movie is when there's the big climactic chase, right? It's like the second chance. Julia Roberts trying to have a second chance with this guy. they're best friends and trying to be lovers, right? So it's supposed to be trying to be this like friends to lovers thing. Supposedly she has this grand epiphany where like, oh no, I love this man, I have to break up this wedding. Obviously marriage is a huge plot point. She's like a main character that's been too busy, too career oriented to worry about love before, right? So there's lots of these tropes. There is the climactic chase scene where Julia Roberts becomes kind of successful in this attempt to break up the marriage, and Cameron Diaz finds out and runs away. And so then her best friend chases Cameron Diaz, and so Julia Roberts chases her best friend and is like, no, you're supposed to be with me. And while that's happening, one of Julia Roberts' other friends calls her on her massively large cell phone as she's like running. And, you know, she's explaining to him, she's like, oh, Cameron Diaz is running and he's chasing her and I'm chasing him. And her friend on the phone goes, well, who's chasing you? Yeah. Right. And so like that's supposed to be, I think, the big moment in the movie where she realizes, oh shit, like what am I doing? And then the movie ends in a big marriage scene between her best friend and Cameron Diaz.
And she's still invited.
And she still attends and is in the wedding party.
Yeah.
And goes. And to me, I'm just like, how on earth is her best friend remaining friends with her after this situation? You literally tried to get him fired and his career ruined. You tried to break up a wedding that was legitimately, they love each other and are good for each other.
Yeah, you clearly don't care about his happiness or what he wants.
Right.
And yeah.
So I don't know how they even are remaining friends at the end of this movie, to be honest. And there's ways to try to be funny about breaking someone up, right? And I think that It's Complicated does that with Alec Baldwin's character.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's funny and you're like, like what a weirdo. The choices she's making to try to break up the relationship are not just like goofy like situations. They're harmful.
Yeah. Not a good friend.
So the way I rated it, I gave it a 2 for the feels because quite frankly, the parts with Cameron Diaz are very cute and they have a very cute relationship. But Julia Roberts, it just feels like you're trying to watch someone hopefully learn their lesson about being a shithead.
Yeah. But then it's okay at the end. She's not even really held accountable for anything that she does the whole time either.
Right. So I gave it 2 for feels. I also gave it a 2 for the laughs because, like I said, it was hard to even laugh at some of these scenarios because they were not funny. She's trying to ruin her supposed best friend's life. Cringe factor 2. Like, it's just very cringy because what are you doing if this is really your best friend?
Yeah.
Like, that's
kind of like watching a train wreck.
Yes. Personal preference, I also just gave it a 2 because after rewatching it, I was like, no, none of this is okay. I don't want to watch this woman devolve again, you know? Yeah. So anyway, total score 8.
Oof.
Doesn't hold up. I honestly wouldn't even recommend a rewatch.
Yeah.
No. Doesn't do it for me.
Oof.
Doesn't do it for me.
Nope. Well, maybe we can end on a higher note because I will say that, you know, I lamented the downfall of the romantic comedy over the years and why, you know, the golden age of the romantic comedy has ended and where are all the romantic comedies? Where have they gone?
Yeah.
I found one.
Yay!
I found one from 2022 that was so cute and it had all of my favorite rom-com situations and I was just, like, very happy with it.
All right.
So it was Marry Me and came out in 2022, directed by Kat Coiro. I'm not familiar with her, but it was Owen Wilson and Jennifer Lopez. And then Sarah Silverman was the
nice.
Comedic little
funny best friend.
Quirky best friend.
Oh, she's a great option. Great option for that.
Yes, she was. So premise of the story is Jennifer Lopez plays, well, herself. She plays a pop star, you know, big pop star, just like J-Lo. She's dating this other pop star, this kind of like young, hot Latin man who like sings in Spanish and stuff. And they have this duet going where they've done some songs together and they've created a song called Marry Me. And it's very catchy, by the way, because since J-Lo's in it, they actually did the music. So that's fun too. There's like some original songs. So they've created this song called Marry Me, and they have decided that they're going to get married on stage in front of all of their fans at one of their biggest concerts in New York City.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Owen Wilson is just your average dude. Just your average likable guy.
Sounds about right for Owen Wilson.
Yes, exactly. He plays it so well. And he's a math teacher. He is divorced. He has a daughter and a really cute dog. And Sarah Silverman is the guidance counselor at the school, so she's his friend. And so Sarah Silverman convinces him to come to this concert because she's obsessed with J-Lo's, the pop star character.
Okay.
And her date falls through. And so she brings Owen Wilson and his daughter, and Owen Wilson's like, okay, like, I don't even know who this person is, but she convinces him to come because he thinks his daughter will like it. So he's like, okay, fine, we'll go.
Yeah.
So minutes before J-Lo goes on stage to marry this other pop star, she finds out via smartphone media that he has been cheating on her.
Oh.
And so she goes out on stage and she's kind of like dumbstruck of what to do. So she decides that she's not going to marry him. And instead, she's looking out into the crowd and she sees Owen Wilson holding a poster that says "Marry Me" because of the song "Marry Me." Like everyone's waving posters and stuff. And she kind of makes eye contact with him and is like, I'll marry you, and decides to do it as this publicity stunt a little bit so that she's not just standing up there alone, not getting married to this pop star that she's, So they go up and they get married. But afterwards, they kind of have this discussion where they're like, they're not pretending that like this is actually going to work. But she's like, this will help me out, just like publicity wise. Can you give me 3 months of, going through the motions, some photo ops and things like that. And then at the end of it, whatever, no big deal, we'll get it annulled. But at least this way I'm not just the girl who's like left at the altar kind of like, found out.
Sure.
Was, And so Owen Wilson reluctantly agrees to this. So one of my favorite tropes, fake relationship becomes real love.
Love it.
Yes. And also love crosses class because, he's just the average math teacher. And
average
she's
Joe.
The multi-million dollar pop star with her fabulous life. Obviously, they kind of start going through this fake relationship and they end up developing real feelings for each other. Again, all the stuff I love, just real cute. They actually had really good chemistry, which I was kind of surprised about. I didn't really picture Owen Wilson and J-Lo, but it was good. And, they have some like cute little scenes like his math class and the mathalon. There's a grand gesture / climactic chase where J-Lo realizes she actually wants to be with him. Because there's also a moment where she thinks maybe she's getting back together with her pop star.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Pop star
the one that cheated on her. Mm-hmm.
Right, yes, exactly.
Mark Ruffalo, take notes.
Right, no shit. So, you got your little love triangle there. Your love in unlikely or unusual situations.
Mm-hmm.
They have their meet cute at the concert. Mm-hmm. And so she chases after him by traveling all the way to the Mathalon in Illinois to find him and like kind of declare her love. It was just super cute. I was so pleasantly surprised by it. We talked a little bit about how some of these romantic comedy stuff is difficult in the age of technology. And I felt like they handled that really well. They kind of made it apparent that she's a public figure who's concerned about social media and is really involved in that. And then Owen Wilson has a flip phone still. So like he doesn't even have a smartphone. He does not own any social media, but
he's such a dad. Hot dads.
Yes, right, exactly. Yep, it worked for me. Let me just say, it worked for me all around.
Zaddy vibes.
And just like all their interactions are really cute. The music was fun because J-Lo sings in it, and there's like a couple of pop songs that they clearly make for the movie.
The rom-com isn't dead, guys. It's not dead.
Well, I know. But so that's why I wanted to end with that one because I was like, how did I miss this in 2022? It's what I've been searching for. I love it. Feels, I gave it a 5. Yeah. Romantic. Yeah. It worked. Laughs. I gave it a 4. I would say, it wasn't the funniest movie I ever watched, but it was Owen Wilson. I mean, he's funny.
Agree.
Can't help it.
Agree.
And Sarah Silverman was hilarious. Too.
Yeah.
Cringe factor. I gave it a 5 because me, it's 2022. They know. They know what they're doing.
They know what's up.
They're trying. Yep. And then, personal preference, I gave it a 4. So overall, 18 out of 20.
Ooh.
That was my second highest after.
Yeah, I was going to say that's up there with my 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yeah. So this was fun, and I think I'm probably going to just continue watching romantic comedies for who knows, weeks. It's going to be weeks of just rom-com after rom-com.
And that's what I was going to say is we watched more than what we were able to talk about in this episode without making it way too long. So we will put our scorecards together into some Instagram posts and put all our scorecards up. And then I would love it if you used our scorecards and scored your own. I think that'd be fun.
Yes, I would love that too. Let us know. And I'd also love to hear about more rom-coms that maybe I haven't yet discovered, like this one, because I'm a fan. And apparently they're out there. I'm just not aware of them, or they're harder to find because I'm not going to Blockbuster on Friday night and perusing the shelves.
Yes, it's true. It's true. One quick note before we end our episode today. Our schedule is going to be slightly shifted in October because of some travel, personal travel. So instead of an episode coming out 2 weeks from now, it's actually going to come out 3 weeks from now. So we'll have an episode on October 14th and then another one on October 28th. So just a heads up that you'll have to wait 3 weeks for the next episode, but that gives you plenty of time to watch some rom-coms in between. Thank you for listening to Researching the Obvious. To learn more fun facts about everything that we're researching, follow us on Instagram at Researching the Obvious Pod, all one word. You can also follow us on Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you know someone that you think would enjoy listening to all of our findings, please feel free to share or give us a review. Researching the Obvious is written, produced, edited, and hosted by Emily Fekete and Katie Nakanishi. Tune in next time to hear more obvious facts.